Cool. All right, we're back. Our last video kind of did really fucking well, eh? We got three, we're approaching 400 views. That's our best video so far. So, if you're
Thanks,
new to
everybody.
this, yeah, if you're new to this, thanks. We do not have Matt today, so this isn't a regular podcast. This is just gonna be me and Brett and shooting the shit. We probably won't.
This is a
touch on any-
throwback podcast. What do you mean, not a regular podcast? Don't disrespect
Well,
it.
we're not talking about sports or anything. We're gonna talk
I
about.
specifically asked Josh to come on here today so I could 1v1 him. I don't know what in yet.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But we're just gonna for 40 minutes or so just
Yell at each other.
talk or whatever. So
No,
Brandon,
we're just talking nicely.
yeah, Brandon wanted to talk about Call of Duty for some reason. So go
Josh
ahead.
thinks I want to talk about Call of Duty so bad. He just wants to act like this.
I
He
don't
thinks
know,
that he
but
doesn't want to talk about Call of Duty as much, but Call of Duty is in his veins even more than it is mine.
is it though?
Yeah, it should be because it runs in your blood with your family and your brothers being like streamers.
Yeah, well, that's
Josh
the thing.
has
Like we can talk about streamers if you want. That's a good segue. Like, do you think like these streamers you see, like the competitive ones, and you got all these Call of Duty leagues? Do you think we're seeing an uptick in esports gaming and the way it's taking? Do you think it'll overtake any of the main sports in the next, I don't know, 10, 15 years, just with the increase in technology and the way it's more accessible than any other sport, right? Like if I wanted to if I went on Twitch right now, I bet you I could find a competitive game on any gaming platform or any game. So, where do you think that's heading?
Yeah, it's important. I've been waiting to talk about esports. Honestly, it's a large market now. Maybe if we talked about this a couple of years ago, we would have said it's a small niche market, esports in specific. But like now, we can. I'd say we could both agree that it's a large sports market now. Esports is I don't know, it says sports, so I guess we're safe to say it's a sport. So the thing about esports is that I like the accessibility, right? Twitch is free, right, to watch, so you can sign up or just watch as a guest for free. And my experiences with Twitch was great. You get a little bit, if it depends on who you watch, you can interact with them on the stream, you can interact with other people on the stream. I think that with especially with the coronavirus and the lockdown in Canada, without being able to leave, staying online and having screens and being on the virtual realities and whatnot is the trend. And especially if nothing opens up anytime soon, there's going to be a lot more progression in esports and maybe tournaments. I think that 10 to 15 years, you ask me, is a large timeline. We've talked about this a couple of times in class, is that I think maybe even 5 years you could see a large implementation of esports into maybe Olympics, more events, national events, maybe even I'm thinking more celebrities get involved with publicizing, owning esports teams. We've seen people like the creators of esports, or one of the most famous leagues, Watch Out. What was the name of that game? Overwatch came from, like, he used to own an NFL team or something like that. Like the guy who used to. So I think that the sports industry is interested in video games and where it can take them. And
for sure, like
I'm excited. Sorry, I'm excited to talk about video games today because I'm trying to get you back on playing them with me.
Yeah, like I mean, video game. I see video games very differently than, let's say, my brothers do. And like, shout out to my brothers; they're really good at video games.
Muffin Man,
Muffin Man 17 on Switch. Like, especially, they take it competitively. They could play for money if they had to. I just like to log on for like an hour or two and shoot zombies in the head or whatever, or rip some goals and chill. But I just pulled up quickly the 5 biggest esports tournaments in the world, and like I'm just looking at it. Number 3, you got the Fortnite World Cup, which just happened, or in 2019. The 2021 was pushed because of obviously coronavirus. And
it was like a 15 or 13-year-old one, like over $1 million.
A 16-year-old won the grand prize of $3 million, and then you got the League of Legends World Cup for championship that pulled almost 4 million viewers on Twitch. So that's pretty crazy. You got Dota 2, which had a prize pool of $34 million, which is just crazy.
All right, so let me catch this transition here like a touchdown. What are your, and just to give room for excuses and error, top 5 on the spot video games of all time to Josh?
Oh, top 5 video games, like all time, I guess.
That you've played.
I'm not gonna do them in order. I'll just off the top of my head. I'll go with NHL 2006 is a classic. That's a great game. I just remember
The one
playing
with
that.
Dion Phaneuf on the cover.
No, I think it was. I don't think it was
Again,
enough.
I think it was Phaneuf.
I think it was St. Louis. But that game was crazy, right? Because if you got someone who was over a 94 overall, they would have a star on them, and like on the PS2, if you pressed L1 R1 at the same time, they would just flick the puck up and pat it. And the game was kind of broken like that because you could just score ridiculous baseball goals in a game that didn't really, now you're seeing an NHL 21, like you can do the lacrosse goals and all that. NHL 2006 just kind of seemed ahead of the curve, and like I think most people would agree between the NHL 2007.
Damn it! It was Le Cavier. I'm sorry.
Between NHL 2007 and 2012, it kind of dropped off a little bit with the introduction of the skill stick. And then it's picked back up, and now they're just kind of carbon copies of each other. But it is what it is. Another game. Yeah, Modern Warfare 2 is always a classic. Like that was kind of the first Call of Duty game I played. Just have memories of coming back after like grade 6, grade 7. You coming back and you would play Modern Warfare until dinner time, and then you would play it some more afterwards. That was a great game. Had great maps. Skyscraper is the one that always stand, or Rooftop, whatever it was called, that would always stand out to me. And that was kind of where it all took off with the trick shots and everything.
High Rise.
High Rise, yeah. Like it's and Rust. I mean, and Rust is back in some of the games, so that was a fun one. GTA 5 was also a bunch of fun. That game was kind of groundbreaking, right? Because it really introduced you to like a solid open world gameplay that was online as well, and like you could just do whatever the hell you wanted in that game. What else?
That's 3.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think. Like
you're gonna want to say PGA.
Yeah, no, not really. Like that's just a chill game to play on. I enjoy Cold War.
That's disrespectful, honestly.
I enjoy Cold War, but I don't know if I played it long enough yet to be able to say it's one of my top games. That's just kind of like what I'm playing at the moment. Then I don't know, like
one more.
Yeah, like can I say Pokemon? Like Pokemon.
Pokemon, you still play Pokemon Go. I mean, I don't know what to say about that, but
on the game,
it's exciting. Like keeps the hype alive.
Right, and like I watch. Yeah, you go ahead. Maybe I'll remember one when you're talking.
Yeah, well, mine won't be in order as well. I'm just gonna go off the top of my head. Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 are in there. Both of those got me heavily. The day's play I have on those games is, not even safe to talk about. I love the MOABs, right? The MOABs in MW3. I had like 50 plus of those. That was one of my favorite games to have all specialist perks. I can still remember all the spawns and the maps, and Domination was the game to go to. MW2, I kept going back to just a quick scope with the intervention. Do trick shots. I love trick shots. I used to have a trick shot gamer tag because I thought I could take it somewhere on YouTube and I could hit clips, and I never really got anywhere far with that. But those are 2. Fortnite for sure, just because of the memories that come around with it. You say what you want. I haven't played Fortnite in 2 years, but 3 years ago when it was just coming around, all my friends and I played it late nights.
I'll retract my boo, because I played Fortnite was like season 1 where you didn't have to build to win, but now you got all those.
Yeah, so I mean, Josh is just arrogant today. Fortnite is a good game overall. Even I'd say up to the first 3 seasons were playable for me. Even when the building and the competition started getting better, I had a couple of friends that we could play with that would carry rather, so we'd have 4 guys. But I just think the communication, everyone's really not the greatest, and you have athletes of mine playing it together and they get just as mad as they do on the ice or whatever. And I think that Fortnite brought a lot of memories. It was like the most elating thing when you won a game, and I think that excitement factor and the popularity and the fact that it was a free game, right? It was groundbreaking for everyone. Fortnite, the multi-platform availability that it had to play with everyone across different systems was amazing. So those are 3. Oh man, NHL 16, or like NHL 2016. That was a good game for me. That was like my first years I got introduced into Hockey Ultimate Team. Hockey Ultimate Team.
Hut is a great idea. I love Hut.
Yeah. After NHL 16, I played Hut for like 3 years straight up until 19. Investing real money and into points, cards, and PlayStation points just to make my team a little bit more competitive. Nothing too over exaggerated, but I wouldn't be scared to make my team like competitive. And I wasn't, gonna necessarily play as long as everyone had to get little coin by coin in that game. So sometimes you just gotta fork a little bit over to have a nice team, the NHL hut, and you learn that the hard way, and you get spanked around, and you go up all the way to divisions, and you have a great team. And I think that hut's a great way for young kids and young athletes, young hockey players to learn the system, contracts, and roster management.
What's the highest level what's the highest tier you got to in one of those games?
I've gotten to 2. I can't say I've gotten into 1. I got into 2 for sure.
I got into 1 once. I think it was.
I can't remember.
It might have been 16 or 17. I got into 1, and the amount of time and dedication that took just to get like that familiar and that comfortable with the game was. I don't think I could do it again.
Yeah, and NHL's a hard one because you really, as a hockey player, you take it a little bit more seriously than you'd like to, right? Yeah. Both of us, I'm sure. Something that I just want to say, I'm trying to look at it, trying to find it, the name.
I just downloaded the new NHL because it was free on the Xbox store, and I like the new Via Pro mode. Some people have said
I'm not trying to say the wrong game here. Yeah, keep talking.
But like you get to answer questions and stuff now, and I think they're like from your agent, your teammates, and all that. And they put you in situations, and like it's just different. It's nice to have that. I'll probably get bored of it pretty quickly, and then I'll move back over to Hut and EASHL. I love EASHL. That's so much fun.
You know what? Like I can't knock this one. I can't just go blind by it. I gotta say 2K21 NBA. The memories I have with that recently and over the summer online, just spending the long nights in the pandemic, playing basketball virtually with my friends. I've come to really come closer to a lot of guys just because basketball is such a world dominating sport, and it brings so many people together. And even the video game world of basketball is super entertaining and satisfactory. Like it's a lot of buttons involved. I know a lot of people play a lot of different games where the button and the stick layout is super more difficult than just a typical sports game. But if you think about real basketball, it takes a lot of different moves and ability to score and be at a high pace. So to play 2K, you have to also be able to touch your buttons properly and be engaged. It's a really smart game. You have to set picks and all that. I mean, I know it's general basis, but I think the 2K, they did a lot of great details, and I like the accessibility with my friends as well. I can play with them. That's just 5. We could go on forever.
Well, I got one more.
I'm missing some.
I got one more.
And I know I'm missing a lot, and that's some that I've played as well. But come at me for whatever you don't think is reasonable on this top 5, and if you used to play video games or whatever. But what do you have to say?
SmackDown versus Raw 2006 for the PS2.
Yeah,
that was a great one.
I don't know. That's a nice one too. I remember I played a couple of those. Like Red Dead Redemption, I played the original one, not the second one. And I think that was the first Storytale game. You know what I mean? That I kind of could understand, and it was funny for me because I liked the movie Holes. Holes.
Yep.
Shia LaBeouf, all that way back when. It just reminded me of like the old Western.
Time. What's weird? That's the second time today I've had a conversation about that movie.
That's so weird because it's never, it's not even talk. That's the first time I've mentioned it in a long time. And anyway, but the whole thing about it is that Western culture. I think like just digging, I don't know, like the doors when you walk through the bar, just the old school Western style. And I think that I like Red Dead Redemption because it was right around the time I was watching that movie, and it was like a horse cowboy situation. And I related those two things, but I don't know. I don't want to say a sixth one unless I'm just kind of rambling around. There's so many games.
Yeah, there is. I mean, and the games come and go, right? Like, I've never had a game that like sticks around for a really long time. Just kind of franchises, right? They always release a new one. Like when Call of Duty came out with Cold War, I just moved on to that. I didn't stick around and play Modern Warfare.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
that's the thing, right? You try to go back on a couple years now, and the lobbies are empty, no one's online, and you just can't find anywhere to play. But talking about updates, we can talk about the new one real quick. The Cold War update coming back. So Josh and I played the 2v2 tournament gunfight tournament. The last time it came out a few weeks ago, and we played that, and I enjoyed that time we spent playing because it was a really strategical game that forced us to talk and get mad at each other, elate, be very happy for each other, and like talk as a team. I mean, I know it sounds like we were like trying to do like undercover detective work, but we were actually just, trying to play Call of Duty 2v2. And I think the gunfight situation, before you go off, I think I love the gunfight 2v2 because it gives an even playing field throughout the whole 4-man thing, right? No one has a different gun system, perk, attachment, or whatever. And it's 6 rounds, so it gives a lot of chance for comeback and time to play. And I think that the greatest thing that I've noticed, and a lot of people have, is that you can talk to your teammate while you have died and they're still alive. So you can converse to where you think the other enemies are while the other players are dead, and you're just watching. And that, that's not typical search and destroy matter or Call of Duty competitive play. So I think that that's really unique to the 2v2 situation, and like, why not? I was kind of sad when they took it away this past weekend, but to hear that it's coming back right now, I mean, I hope I don't have to find a new friend if you don't come back online.
No, I'll be back. We'll play that. Like, yeah, the gunfight was fun. I'd never done it, something like that before, and so I didn't.
Yeah, I was like really skeptical, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't really know what it was because I signed in and I saw a gunfight tournament. I'm like, I'll check this out, and then I pull it up. It's like, do you want to register? I'm like, sure. Is it free?
Sure.
So yeah, I'll register. It's like, okay,
yeah, that was the weird part.
And then it was like, okay, wait here for 4 minutes. I'm like, okay, sure. So I'm waiting there, and it goes, okay, we're finding you a teammate, and then it like shows me this bracket. I'm like, what the hell is this? This is awesome.
Then, you want let's talk about that from a Rick standpoint, league and tournament management. How do you like the way that it was run? I think that it was unique, right? Because in similar tournaments and Call of Duty esports, it's always going and there's one generated and you never have to wait that long. But I think it was universal. Like the whole world would wait 5 minutes for a round. And I think that the way that every tournament was scheduled and the bracket system was kind of interesting, right? And the thought process behind that.
It wasn't like there wasn't a rocket science behind that because it wasn't rigged. Right. Like we played some games where we got killed 6-0, and then we played some where we killed them 6-0, right? So
yeah, that's the beauty of it. And we never got to a championship.
No, we never did. We were close. We could smell it, but not quite. That one fucking map at the end. IBGF or whatever it is. But yeah, no, that was fun. I'm glad that's back. And I wonder if it's a different variation of the same. We didn't really get too many details.
I'm excited. Yeah, maps involved, whatever. New maps, even because Diesel was new for that. No, was Diesel like new?
No, it was added like 2 weeks before, so it was a new.
Yeah, it was still new though, and it was highlighted though. And Diesel, you played twice on the tournament schedule in that round. You know what I mean? Like you started out in Diesel, and then you made it to the final. It went all the way back to Diesel. So I enjoy that map, and I enjoy that game mode. And I've been playing a lot of Sticks and Stones lately, just to feel something. I don't really know.
I love I don't know why, but I'm really good at Sticks and Stones.
I've won 2 games today.
Yeah, I'm really good. I don't know why. For some reason, I'm phenomenal at it. Like you'll have to.
It's a nice game, right? Because you don't have to get the most kills, and you have to be a little bit strategical. And if you're good with the tomahawk, then you can just eliminate everyone and stay safe.
Well, that's what I do. I just run around with the tomahawk because it doesn't fucking matter. It's great. Like it's great, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see this update. And I know Activision I think it's Activision or Call of Duty just signed on a bunch of new gaming studios. So there's going to be a bunch of new updates from new studios, and they're all integrating into Warzone, right? Because Warzone's kind of the center hub of Call of Duty now, and the games are
been playing a little bit of solo Warzone on my time here without you, so really looking forward to this happening. Is it coming at midnight, or what does it happen? The timing again?
This drop today? The playlist just update, so it might have already been updated.
Sweet. All right, let's transition a little bit here. What do we got?
How would you like it if I came over there and got your hat?
Yeah, sure. You can do that.
Give me your 5. Why don't you like the Paul brothers?
No, well, okay, sure, right. So there's 2 sides to this. I like what they do. I like the idea behind it. I just don't like, their persona in general. And that's just because of, the fact I've known them, and we've known them long on the internet, well before they've done this, right? Vine days, YouTube, social media influencers way back before. And they were young on the scene too, as like TV, little kids, like they were.
One of them was on the Disney Channel, right?
In the industries, right? And so it's kind of like, that it's kind of all for show when you see it right now. Maybe, obviously they've won, they've actually boxed and blah, blah, blah. They look big and strong, but it's the entertainment industry, and we all saw the Ben Askren fight, and we all had our eyebrows raised around the legitimacy of that, I would say, right? So I'm not too sold on them. The whole gotcha hat thing, right? Like it brought a smile to my face, a laugh to my face. I don't know how happy I was, but I think the thing that brought more of a smile and a laugh to my face, rather, is that Floyd Mayweather and got so upset about this. Like he thought it was the most disrespectful thing to happen to him until like he hasn't even lost a fight, so that's nothing. That was the fight he's lost. Like I think that was funny because it almost looked like he lost the fight, and he got so upset. Yeah, apparently Jake came out with a black eye and a little bit of a beat
was busted up pretty bad.
And I don't know who that was because I know for a fact that I believe all of Floyd Mayweather's bodyguards were there, and they were like 5 deep. Surrounding, and I saw no one helping Jake. So I'm not sure if the bodyguards got the punches in on him or if Floyd himself got his hands there. We saw how mad Floyd was. He was running around the little concourse there, screaming, "Don't take my hat! Don't take my hat!" So let me answer the question before you go off. Yeah, I don't like the Paul brothers. The situation. Jake is the one who took the hat, right? Jake is the younger brother who took the hat. So I'll say what I have to say about that. Funny, cool, great marketing. You saw the fact that to enhance this marketing strategy, he got tattooed in the airport before they left, like an hour after. He got merchandise released, like Gotcha Hat merchandise, changed his usernames to Gotcha Hat, and made a TikTok like about how he would do it beforehand. And I think that everyone kind of underestimates the mentality behind that because it takes guts and balls and whatever, it takes the right guy to do it. But it just looks childish if you're the type of guy to get, or even type of person to get offended, from people disrespecting legends in the game. And I think that a lot of people took it that way, is that you can't disrespect Floyd. And I think for the other one, the Logan brother, he had a funny, I want to know your opinion on this before I say it, but like the 1v1 standoff against Floyd and Logan was the highlight of that part of that day. So over to you.
This whole thing just seems like a giant marketing scheme because
everyone, I just want to bring up before you go, like everyone thinks, oh, they're smart. Like they think they're so smart talking about how it's marketing, like whatever it is, if however we want to bend it, it's a way to, enhance their stock. And that's marketing really to me.
I mean, it's drawing attention to the fight because I had no idea that this press conference was going on and now I want to see what happens
next. You're fucking Wolf of Wall Street stockbrokers. We're just talking about basic marketing.
And then, I know. And now I want to see what happens next. Right. But the thing that I forgot, like the next day I messaged you, I was like, wait, Jake's not even the one fighting. It's Logan.
Yeah, Josh was a little lost on that.
So, yeah, I just kind of forgot because I thought the guy fighting would be the one getting in his face and taking his hat. I mean, they were just acting like a bunch of 5th graders anyway, but, it drew attention to the fight. They got like mainstream press coverage from big media outlets. TSN was covering it. Sportsnet was covering it out here in Canada, which are 2 of our biggest sports networks. I'm sure ESPN got a hold of it over in the States. But it's just crazy. And, Jake is playing the villain. Logan's kind of calmed down a little bit ever since that whole, Suicide Forest video where he showed the dead body on camera. And, Floyd went after him for that. And
that was just hard to watch, man.
Logan went back at him for some other things. Check that video out if you want. I got a good laugh out of that, to be honest, just because of
that was interesting to see how intense that got.
Brings up his dark past. He just goes, he's allowed to say what he wants. I'm like, okay, Floyd, he got you there. But it just seems like Jake's playing the perfect villain, and he knows how to do it because people love to hate him. And we want to see him fail. So all this is leading to is I think Mayweather's gonna beat Logan, and then Jake's gonna step in the ring and be like, oh, you know what? Now it's my turn. And it's just gonna set up another fight. That's all it's gonna do, and it's gonna be a bigger moneymaker because these two actually have a history, like a rivalry history, right? So
over a hat,
and it just reminds me of he's kind of playing that Stone Cold role that Stone Cold would play in the WWE. Just everyone liked Stone Cold. Nobody seems to like Jake Paul. So it's just he knows what he's doing and he knows how to market himself. And I'm sure he's a nice guy, but to the cameras, man, they call him the problem child, and you can see why. And what a sick nickname that is, actually, right? Like you're known as the problem child.
Yeah, right. It's all about who the person is behind it.
Yeah, and like the video of them sitting in the plane afterwards, where Logan's just staring at Jake, and then he's just like, "Gotcha. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." I thought it was great. Like
Got
they've
your hat.
yeah,
Yeah.
they've drawn attention to this fight. It's genius, and now Jake's banned from ringside at the fight. So that's some WWE shit right there.
Yeah.
Oh, should we bring up my idea for that fantasy booking of a boxing fight that I told you about? You remember
Yeah.
what it was? So like Jake was challenging Floyd to fight the same night. He's like, do two, if you're the greatest ever, do two in one night. And Floyd's like, okay, I'll do it. And then we kind of joked that Teddy Long would come out and be, well, hang on now, player, we got a tag team match. And then they say, okay, well, it's going to be the first ever boxing tag team match. And then, but they keep Floyd's partner a secret. And when it comes to it, everyone comes out and says, okay, who's Floyd's partner? Who's Floyd's partner? And then Conor McGregor comes out because he's also got history with Logan and Jake. Like that would be one of the biggest money making things to do ever. If you were able to somehow tease that, like that
But
would
somehow
be
Teddy Long gets involved.
yeah, that would be hype. But that was just
That's a dream world, and
that'll never happen.
we all get to think largely. So
Yeah.
let's move on to 3 things we're looking forward when the pandemic is over here to do in Ontario, especially where we live.
Yeah.
I'll go first. I'll go with one. We'll go 1 for 1. Go into sports card stores.
Okay, well, expand on that.
Well, I would expand after you went, but it's more of a list, so just go and then we'll expand after.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to golfing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to sports card stores because the only thing that's holding me back from, purchasing more is having the access to see what's available.
Yeah.
And so at certain stores, they have their bins of singles or whatever, and I just think you can't access those online. They only have those in person. It's just kind of lame as shit to be curbside only. Fuck this. It's kind of getting whatever. Who knows what's even happening? Don't even know where I live anymore. Golf is just another extension of that. Golf goes into my number 2. Like it's just like, oh my god, like we can't even golf.
Can't even play. It's the one place in the world where it's illegal.
Right, like I don't even know where I live. It's got me thinking. Golf and sports cards are my 2.
Yeah,
I'm so down about this. It's just I feel like I'm just so down about this.
Yeah, sports cards are a good one, right? Because like even when we were in lockdown, you kind of got me into the hobby a little bit. And we go visit our guy down at Hidden Gems. Shout out to him. But it's just kind of cool. Like the community that seemed like some good people. I wasn't really able to get into it, and now they. That guy that owned the store, I can't remember his name right now. I'll message him after and get his name. Maybe he can come on or something. But he was a nice guy. He was kind of introducing me into the hobby too and what it's like. And I got into it. I've been looking at some online, but I want to get back into a store and like check out some of the cards.
Yeah, half the hobby is the relationships you build in person, right?
Yeah, but no.
What's your second? So that's your second. So we got one last thing for both of us, and I know for Josh it's going to be work probably.
Well, no, my second one would be getting back into bars and restaurants with my friends because I miss doing that.
Right.
That's
I mean, I only got a select few of friends. I'm not too worried about that shit.
Okay, fair enough. What's your number 1?
don't mean to downgrade your opinion. Number 1, yeah, men's league sports.
Yeah, see, I'm going live sporting events, man. I gotta get myself to a Leafs game. I gotta get to a Jays.
It's a live sporting event that I'm involved in. I'm.
Do any of those visas left?
No. In the men's rec league, but I want to hear. I mean, I'd like to know. It would be great to be associated with my events being, able to happen and going to events too.
Yeah, I miss. I can't play. If you don't know, I can't play men's hockey anyway because I've had too many concussions. So it's just not worth going into the corner and being drilled from behind by a 6'3" construction worker. But it's going to like even like an OHL game or a junior A, junior B game. Just to have people in the crowd watching the events. Blue Jays, Toronto Rock. We can actually get to a Toronto 6 game when we're able to. Maple Leafs. Like I'm down to pay $12 for a beer just to watch the Leafs play. And it's not just going to the event, right? It's like you take the train down in Toronto, you get there like 1:00 in the afternoon for a 7 p.m. puck drop. You're bar hopping, going to some restaurants, maybe hit up the rec room for some arcade games and stuff. Go down the street to the Loose Moose. Then you go over to the
Go,
Pint.
no, you got to go to the Real Sports and get your jerseys.
Well, Real Sports you can never get into unless you have a reservation, and that's kind of.
You just okay. You missed the whole point. Real
You mean the
Sports,
restaurant or the store?
the retail store.
The retail store, yeah, that's fine. But and then after the game, you head down to the Pint. You go up to the second floor. They got a live DJ. You drink gin and tonics. Still, the Go Train shows up at 1:43 in the morning because you and your buddy forgot to get on the 10:13 one. So, I just miss stuff like that, man. I mean, I know it sounds stupid and juvenile, but like,
Just
let's
miss
get back to
life. I
that.
just
Let's
want
get
to go
back
to
to the
Walmart,
huddle
and I just want to go to the toy section in Walmart again.
I mean, and I'm getting my vaccine on next Monday, so hopefully we can start getting back into that. But
yeah, we can start hugging.
yeah,
I want to hug you again.
I haven't had a hug in a while. Oh well.
Let's finish this off with a little bit of current sports. What's happened to cue off on Monday night? Really nothing exciting for hockey or basketball.
Well, no, that's not true. Actually, I'll cut you off on the hockey one because Montreal is still in a playoff battle. They haven't secured a playoff spot yet. They need to get at least one more point to get into the playoffs, and they play Edmonton twice. So if they lose to Edmonton twice in regulation and Calgary or Vancouver win out and Calgary and Vancouver play each other, then one of those teams will take the spot. I mean, it's very unlikely to happen, but it's still fun to watch. I'll ask you this. What did you think of McDavid getting 100 points?
Yeah, historical. It sucks to be. I don't know if it sucks, but right now I don't appreciate it as much as when we all grow out of this and don't be able and never see a player like this again. So it's hard to. You have to almost convince yourself to imagine that it's as if you're watching Lemieux or Gretzky or one of the greatest in their prime. You know what I mean? And you can't do that because we weren't alive back then. And you mentioned something to me the other day when we were talking about the Leafs releasing merchandise around the North Division, and you're like, oh, this is the best Leafs team we've seen in our own era. And I think this is our Gretzky. This is the only player we've seen amongst this class of 20 some years we've been alive watching hockey. And skill talent, and we're favorite to you can have an argument about Ovechkin, Crosby, but this is McDavid doing it right now in front of us, and we're witnessing how to analyze it, and like he's getting criticized, and we're understanding what real criticism is like to handle, and he has no real team around him, and we're still appreciating him. I'm not a huge McDavid fan because he's not on one of my teams, and he just hasn't won a cup. I mean, that's just a little selfish of me, but he is one of the greatest players, undeniably.
Yeah, I mean, you said that there where he doesn't really have a team around him. I think I sent you that stat where like he had 100 points, Draisaitl had 78, and then the next closest player on the Oilers team had 33. It's like that's not a team. That's two guys dragging this team to the playoffs. And I mean, I don't know how they'll do it well because we saw what happened when they played Toronto over the stretch. They did a good job of shutting him and Draisaitl down. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, imagine if he scored in those games. He'd probably have 110 points.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's been held pointless 5 times this season, so we'll see what happens there. But
yeah, I guess there's a little bit of North Division news to watch. But on the other topic of best things witnessed in our generation, let's go to the Leafs. And I think that's really cool. I think maybe if I could get my hands on some North Division merchandise, it might be the only year that this happens. It depends on how the NBA and most of the sporting leagues go back to regulation next year. But the North Division, Scotiabank North Division, rather, maybe only a 1-year occurrence. And to say that the Leafs were the champions of that might be worth commemorating on a piece of fabric or whatever, a clothing, shirt, jersey. I think that's a cool feat for us. So how do you feel? What do you say? What are your biggest takeaways from this team this year? When you look back on it, how did this team make you feel when you can say you witnessed the North Division champs? Like, what does that mean to you?
It's cool that they won the North Division because now we can say the one time there was a Canada-only division, the Leafs won it, so we can say we're the best team in Canada. But let's see what this team can do in the playoffs, man. Like, that's where it matters. And I don't want to get too deep into it because I'm sure we'll talk about it with Matt tomorrow about our expectations for the playoffs and what's going on there. But it's exciting to see, but I thought I would be more excited for this team to win the North. Like, and I was still pretty pumped up for it because it's a good accomplishment, but I think it's the expectations. It's not like the Leafs or the Sens and they won the North. That would be a huge accomplishment. The Leafs are the Leafs. We're expecting this. We're expecting them to get out of the first and second round. That's what we want. That's what we need. We want to see Lord Stanley over our head. And I think that's the only acceptable thing with this team. I mean, would I be happy with a cup final? Yeah. Would I be satisfied? No. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit of a difference there. I mean, personally, my biggest takeaways is that we had one down slump, and that was the biggest slump of the year. It was 5 or 6 game slide, and I think
Yeah.
that the fact we didn't have more than a couple of those, which we're usually prone to, is good to a fan's confidence and love for the team, right? Because it keeps you close to watching the success, and success draws more eyes than failure does. It's just a historic, truth. So I mean, you're right. Like I think it's not too we're not too giddy about it because it was an expectation. We've been talking about it ever since the last off season, and ever
Yeah,
since
for
we've
sure.
got any pickups along the way. They've only enhanced the Leafs decision, the Leafs' chances at winning the North and the Canadian. But it'll be a whole different conversation if something happens in the playoffs, and either the Leafs get knocked, don't win the cup, or another Canadian team goes just as further. So I think that
I mean, only
if
one
another
Canadian team can make it to the Final Four, so let's hope it's us.
all right, and that's the thing, I think so. That's the only other thing is to wait on and see is the playoffs. So
It's going to be exciting. All right, we'll chat tomorrow, yeah?
yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for
No,
tuning in to
because
this.
we'll chat tonight on Call of Duty.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Bye.